How did nobody know who Lauri Markkanen was? That was annoying to me.
It wasn't nobody, Bill.
No,
Come on, there was enough people.
Bill, I thought he played hockey.
I knew,
thought
but
he
I
played
wasn't
hockey.
asked.
It's look, I get the show.
It's embarrassing. No, it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing.
And by the way, it lays into that dude's narrative because he was supposed to be a superstar. He got hurt and was misused. And he's like, now I'm on Utah and I'm an all-star and I've made it. Let me watch my favorite morning show. Nobody know my name.
It's not right, and it's an indictment of us, not of Lauri Markkanen. Regardless, the immensely successful Bill Lawrence with us.
It's on us that we don't know Lauri Markkanen.
I mean, Stugotz, we're a sports show. He's an all-star. He's been.
I was about to say,
yeah,
he's not the last guy on the bench, man. He's an all-star.
The last couple of years, he's been exceptional, and we're a sports show.
Yeah.
Okay, but to be fair, a bunch of people did get it right, and also you don't know how hard it is to look at an athlete without any sort of context clues, like team jersey, anything, a hat, anything like that.
Also under pressure. You're being handed a phone and you're like, know this thing
now.
Exactly.
And by the way,
It's like raw dogging it.
you can't see how tall he is in that photo because he's such a monster in real life. You immediately know it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Bill, there were a couple of things from this week that I wanted to talk to you about. Again, Shrinking is a big success on Apple TV. Everything he does is a big success. Season 3 of Ted Lasso is starting in March, but Stugotz is very worried for George Toma. George Toma cares deeply about grass more than most people care about grass. And he just had a disaster of a Super Bowl Sunday that Stugotz is still talking about it 4 days later.
No one has had a worse career ending than George Toma, the sod father. When you're called the sod father and the thing being questioned in your final game is the sod, that is a terrible, sad way to end a career.
That's Jackie Smith dropping that pass from Roger Staubach in the end zone. All everybody remember. It's amazing career.
He's Buckner. Yes.
That's all. Yeah. That's all they remember is him writhing around in the grass in the end zone.
Right. So you share my concerns, right?
Well, look, I think if you could get an image of him on the field on all fours writhing around the way Jackie Smith did when he dropped that, I think it would be a fitting video component to the end of his career. That's rough, man.
Juju, put it on the poll. Who feels worse this week, James Bradbury or George Toma?
Oh, it's Toma by a mile.
Aren't you? You're a Sixers fan. Does that also make you an Eagles fan?
No, I don't know if you remember this. So it's just painful, but I like whatever team I saw play live first, and all of my sports are Philly because I lived outside of Philly when I was a kid. My dad used to take me. Except in football, my family's all from Florida, so I saw the Miami Dolphins in the 70s. And so I'm a Dolphin fan. So I watched your interview with Tua with
not our best work. Not our best work.
Apprehension and delight.
But let me explain.
I crushed it.
One of the things in my meager defense, not that we deserve defending because it was a terrible effort. You can't have me asking a man about his brain damage between selling sandwich meats.
Yeah.
Like in 4 minutes, you can't reduce the interview to 8 minutes.
The tighter that window gets, the funnier it is. Like for me, if you could ever do a master cut of just literally commercial to those questions, right back to commercial in like 20. Even if you could be like, "We'll be back for your responses," I think that's what would have made it better. We'll be back for your response to this question after a quick word from Subway.
Teased it.
Bill, do you have some good Harrison Ford stories for us working on Shrinking? He's 80 years old and he's got another Indiana Jones movie coming out.
I got to tell you, man. Look, you rarely get the opportunity to meet people this inspiring. The dude is 80 and he sucks the marrow out of life more than all of us. He tried to here's my embarrassing story. So he wanted to celebrate the show doing well. And but my 2 meetings with Harrison Ford, he tried to murder me with tequila, both of them. He was an 80-year-old man. And so my wife and I lived down the street from him, and he's like, "Why don't you guys come up and have a drink?" And I said, "Look, I'll come up there for a drink, but my kid's getting home from college tonight, and it's not gonna be crazy." So he said, "1 drink." So I walked up to his house and he met us at the door and he said, if we're gonna have 1 drink, we should probably have shots first. So then he gave my wife and I shots on the way to the bar to get our one drink. And then, and then he gave us both our individual bottles of tequila. He regaled us with stories of his life, which is more interesting than all our lives combined. And then I noticed my wife kind of, when people's eyes kind of lose focus, she was drifting in terms of needing to get home fast. And I said, she's like, I'm gonna go to the bathroom really quick, but then we got to go home. And the second she walked out, Harrison Ford's like, if your wife's not here, I'm probably gonna smoke a little pot. And I'm like, hey, more power to you, whatever you need to do, man. And then my wife came downstairs. We walked down to my house, and I had to hold her, or she would have become that ball from the Indiana Jones movie, just rolling like a stone down the hill. And I got her home, and Harrison Ford, 80 years old, he said, like, how fun was that? Onward. And then he sprinted back up the hill to his house. And I walked into my home, barely able to focus, because I was so drunk so fast. And my son was there. And I said, hey, man, good to see you. What time is it? And he said, 5:30 p.m. I don't know what just happened. I think Indiana Jones tried to kill me between 4:15 and 5:30. It was fantastic. That's how the guy lives his life.
Your wife stars on Shrinking. Again, it's on Apple TV. What are the perils of that?
Oh, dude, there's none for me because she's cool. Look, I don't control any aspect of my life outside work. I'm not wearing anything I picked out myself. I don't make decisions. I was late this morning because I was being lectured via text that I forgot to take my son to school today and that she had to do it for the one time in the last 20. And but at work, I'm the only guy on earth that gets to tell his wife what to say, what to wear, how to walk, what to do. And she's so respectful and so cool to me there. It makes me feel less emasculated with the other 99% of my life.
Is it creatively challenging at all? Like, do you guys ever fight? Are those good sparks to have? I mean, creatively fight where you're disagreeing about how something should be done.
No, man. Look, it's the thing I think you beware of out here is when people are in the exact same field. So, like, if if we're both writers or both actors, I don't know how people do that because you're also in a weird, inherently complicated place where, because of the nature of this business, one person's career is always at a different level than the others, and they read, But if you're closely associated but not in the same walk of life, you at least get the game. And the game out here is so crazy. The hours are so crazy. The hand to mouth of it is so crazy, and the ups and downs are so crazy. So it works. I think it's. Look, I don't want to get corny on this show, but I think it's sexy. She's a muse for me. She's a woman that she started a TV show for 22 straight years and then took a break to take care of our kids. And so to see her working again, it's a rock star. I think it's very cool.
Shrinking, Apple TV Plus, and Ted Lasso begins in March 15th. Do you have any good stories about people really in your inner circle doubting everything you were doing with Ted Lasso? Or people you mean just besides me and my kids? Yeah,
look, man, the bullshit narrative in TV is that anyone that claims they knew something was going to work is so full of it, man. It's just look, I think the shtick out here, I always wanted to call our production company Noble Failure Productions. Because if you can make something that you can show to your friends and your family without being mortified, that's literally all your goal could possibly be. And when we made Ted Lasso, we knew that it was an inherently optimistic and hopeful show, and that it was actually at least fun to work on, and we didn't think anybody in the world was going to watch it. We're as shocked as anybody else. I always keep my eyes out for people that have like a success and they lean back, they're like, yeah, no, I knew it. And I'm like, no, you didn't. Liar. You're a big lying liar.
But you're questioning it as you're putting it together, as you're writing it. Like, you don't know that you're nailing it, Bill?
No, but you know what I mean? I don't know. Maybe look, I've had a weird career with this stuff, man, because I've done shows that I thought were awesome that people hated. Right. And then I've done stuff that I did not think was any good that actually survived for a long time, So I can't tell what's going to work and what's not, it's, so no, you have no idea how it's going to be received when you're doing, by the way, this is what you know without a shadow of a doubt when something just sucks. And for me, that's the fun, awkward moment of trying to figure out how to distance myself as much as possible before it goes on TV.
But you don't have expectations for the success of shrinking. You don't have a measurement system for you other than making it for what resembles success.
No.
Yeah,
here's the success of shrinking. Every show has different pressure, right? Which is, I didn't feel a lot of pressure when I did Scrubs because nobody knew who any of those people were except Donald Faison, who played Turk. Every time we went to work, someone would scream the word clueless. They used to call him that at bars when we get drinks, like, yo, clueless. He's like, worst nickname ever. The weird pressure of shrinking was the second Harrison Ford made the mistake of saying he'd do it. Then, if you're doing this stuff, it's like trading for Kyrie, now there's a monster spotlight that you can't escape. And people are either going to say this was an awful decision to subject this icon, for me, to this mediocre show. There's no under the radar, you know what I mean? So I knew that about shrinking. Because the actors and actresses were really good. And then if it got screwed up, it would be a white hot spotlight on me shitting the bed, if that makes sense.
I hope that there are ways in which working with Harrison Ford is not like working with Kyrie.
No, you know what I mean. Yeah, it's not at all about it. The last day of work with Harrison, this is what we all want to be when we're 80. They call me when there's trouble, and I got a call from set, and they're like, "Hey, man, Harrison, he's not shooting this scene." So I called down there. I'm like, "Hey, what's up, man?" And he goes, it's a scene I'm shaving. And I thought it was at the end of the day after work, like before I went to dinner or something. I'm like, "Nah, it's in the morning." I'm like, What's the problem, buddy?" It's like, "If it's in the morning, I got to shave shirtless." And I'm like, "That's all you're not doing the scene?" He's like, "Yeah, can I shave shirtless?" I'm like, "Yeah, man, whatever you need to shoot this. What do you need me to do?" He goes, "I don't need anything from you, Bill. I just need 10 minutes to do some push-ups."
But Bill, you were talking about pressures, and there was probably one kind of pressure at the beginning of Ted Lasso when people saw it as a commercial from the English Premier League in 2013 that was being turned into a television show and overcoming skepticism. But now that you have overcome the skepticism with large swaths of the audience, there is now the expectation that this thing is great. How does that affect what you're now going into a season 3?
Look, man, you're talking about something I think that is inherent. What I do, inherent what you all do, is a great crossover to sports, is a great crossover to podcasting, to radio, to all this stuff, which is if you let the external pressures get to you and that you're chasing, some kind of reaction, or some kind of result outside of just doing your best, you're screwed. Look, I hadn't been affected. A good metaphor is I hadn't been affected by a review of a TV show in forever. And in fact, most therapists would tell you you're not allowed to see them. But I'm typing right now, Time Magazine review shrinking into my phone because I think it's the meanest thing I ever read. Oh, yeah, here we go. Headline: Shrinking is an affront to comedy, psychotherapy, and Harrison Ford.
Okay, can you please just keep reading from that? Please, I don't think that you need to have a paywall there. Can you please keep reading a little more of that in your voice so that we can hear the criticism?
Also, what has Time Magazine done recently? I mean, honestly, seriously.
Dude, I don't think I'm allowed to read this for my own sanity.
Read it.
No, I'm not gonna give it the dignity, you guys. I can't get
Come
there.
on, Bill.
All right, I'll read it then.
Yeah, by the way, it's a great segment for you guys when you got nothing going on.
In the annals of pop psychology, few concepts are as widely misunderstood and embraced as that of boundaries. We set them in order to move on from codependent relationships, or to stop working 80-hour weeks, or to cut the umbilical cord, metaphorically speaking. Once we've left our parents' home, this all seems pretty self-evidently healthy.
This is revenge for me talking about the Tua interview. This is so cool.
What the deeply irritating new Apple TV Plus dramedy Shrinking proposes is, well, maybe it isn't. Maybe we should all constantly be meddling in the businesses of our family, friends, coworkers, and neighbors. Hell, maybe therapists should step out of the office and dirty their hands in the muck of their patients' lives.
Oh, get over yourself.
Hey, by the way, just remember this. I'll cut to the ending for you. In truth, we'll never know as much about our own therapist as anyone who watches Shrinking has to learn about Jimmy And as the show, in all its self-involved unpleasantness, accidentally implies that's for the best.
So you did read to the end.
That is a badge That is a badge of honor. He would wear that on his forehead if he could. Self-involved unpleasantness.
Doesn't
I tell you
everyone want
guys,
to learn more about
it's
their
a nightmare
therapist,
story
though?
that I can. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Doesn't everyone want to learn more about their therapist, though? They're so mysterious.
I don't know. Like the poison of the stuff that we're doing right now. I'll tell you when it left my life, and because you asked about it, I'll bring it all together. Working with my wife. When Scrubs happened, there used to be, as back time, like, sometimes criticism and critics, you felt they had merit. I would read stuff. You remember, I don't know if you guys know this, but like there's even movie critics that you would read their pieces just because they were so well written, Pauline Kael and stuff, and Tom Shales and Frank Rich for theater. And but I tried to not read reviews. And one of the other head writers on Scrubs called me up and said, hey, Washington Post did a big piece about Scrubs the second year and how well written it is and how it's kind of changing TV and all this other stuff. You should read it. I'm like, I don't like reading that stuff. He's like, it's great, read it. So I told my wife, who was on Scrubs at the time, that had done the Drew Carey show before, which wasn't me. And that was back when there was fax machines. And so the review was coming through on fax pages from this other writer. And my wife was in her office getting the facts. And then literally as she was getting that article, this writer was calling me back going, don't read it, don't read it, don't read it, don't read it. And it was a glowing review about me. And on the dude didn't know Chris and I were married. And on the last page, it said, even Krista Miller, so lifeless and wooden on the Drew Carey show, manages to not be bad on this show. That was the review I handed my own spouse. So since that day, I do not look at that stuff ever.
But there's real wisdom though and I don't know how you arrived at it, because I know a lot of young writers, including your nemesis Mike Schur, have marveled for a long time at how confident and successful you've been from the start, because Scrubs was doing 15 million, Stugotz, in its second season. But you've just described as a life principle really freeing confidence. Look, I call it totally unearned confidence. Okay. And, but the key to it isn't just not paying attention to the negative shit. If you embrace, we all talk about this. I love the overlapping circles between sports and entertainment. If you embrace the hype too, you're equally screwed. Do you know what I mean? And you believe any of the you believe they say you believe the positive, you got to believe the negative. It's a daily effort to just do stuff that I would sit around hanging out and watch with my friends. Why I vibe with this show. I feel like you guys do a show, if you say you get the show, that you would all be happy watching it together because it's the type of stuff that you're all interested in. And if you can make that work on a bigger level, man, what a gift, right? And I had a bunch of years that I'm sure you all did too, that I didn't know if that did work. So I did it for, I was cold as ice before Ted Lasso. I'm just reinventing my history now that I've been hot shit forever. But that kind of spirit that it can change in an instant, especially if you're doing something that it tickles you to do it and you're happy with the people you're doing it with. I think that's the secret to the game. Sound like Oprah, but that's my secret. But how was it when you were cold? Like how much doubt crept in, and how much was your confidence shaken on, can I still do this? Can I age with grace and comedy, which can be hard?
You have your weak moments, man. I used to get lectured because I think Hollywood has this weird component that you self-hype, when you're not doing anything. And my agent, who's a friend and manager, they used to get mad at me because when I was not doing well, people would be like, what are you up to? And normally you're supposed to go, oh, I'm working on this movie or I'm working on this TV show. And I would always be like, I am lucky I got out of my boxers today, man. I got nothing going. I am drowning slowly. So I think I didn't lose confidence as much as I got into a funk, because I think the one weird vibe of this, what I do anyways, is that there's a luck component. And to circle back, you say you knew Ted Lasso was going to work. You're a lying liar who lies all the time, because you can't control the mood of the public or what's going to catch the zeitgeist or what suddenly. it's amazing still, if you're a TV historian, that people who wanted hugs and family sitcoms suddenly embraced Seinfeld, this show of people being mean to each other and they really didn't care about each other and they kept doing horrible, uncomfortable things. I mean, you just go, how did that happen? You know, it doesn't make sense if you know the history of it all. So I wasn't too caught in the can I do it or can I not? I was just going more in tune of, man, I used to love this job. I wonder if I'll still get to do it or if I have to go teach or do something else.
What's Harrison Ford like when he's high?
The same.
Really? No, come on, Bill. He can't be.
I got to tell you, man, he's an American hero, that dude. You know, it's we had a moment the other day because Jason Segel, you know, lives up in Ojai, and Harrison still flies his plane and his helicopter around. And he said, dude, I should, you're not going to believe this, but they won't insure me to fly my helicopter anymore. I'm like, I totally and completely believe it. I mean, I think the last time you flew your plane, you landed it on the 7th fairway of Penmar, the golf course over in Venice.
He's living a big life, man. You've got a lot of projects on deck. I'm wondering, because beyond Bad Monkey, you did that with Vince Vaughn. That's coming soon. What are some of the things you've turned down recently? Because I imagine you've gone from very cold to very, very hot.
Look, you know what the fun thing for me is, and I think part of the secret to this game, it's why I like watching, you know, Mike talk about sports, is if you can remain that passionate about anything, you get to kind of so without calling it turned down. I think the fun thing for me right now is I get to meet with the people that made me want to do this and sit down with them. And I'm still like a kid in a canyon. I got to go have a beer with Michael Keaton the other night, you know, because lucky enough that he's like, hey, I like Ted Lasso, man. I might want to do something funny and silly again. And so for me to get to meet with some of the iconic people that got me here and have them, for the most part, turn out to be exactly like you'd hope, you know, that's been an absolute blast.
Oh, so you're not even going to do the projects. You're just going around drinking tequila with people from your childhood.
Attaboy.
I'm trying to make friends.
Yes.
Good job.
So proud of you,
That's
Bill.
good work by him.
Your question to me sounded like, hey, Bill, who are you trying to be friends with? Oh, thanks for asking. A lot of cool people. I'm doing my best.
Shrinking Apple TV Plus. Ted Lasso premieres Wednesday, March 15th, also on Apple TV Plus. Thank you, sir. Good talking to you. Good seeing you always.
Yeah, you too. Tell Juju I'm coming for him. I didn't like having to see that, but it's okay. I'll live with it. Suck it, Bill Lawrence, out of somebody's mouth on screen. That was rough, man.
Yes, that was the Super Bowl. Juju, for some reason, was asking everybody about Parks and Rec versus Ted Lasso and Bill Lawrence. I guess, did you take a lot of L's? Is that what happened? Mike Schur?
No, you know what happened, by the way? All right, so you guys tell me if I'm wrong. Here's how I read the dynamic. He did Parks and Rec versus Scrubs, and someone, as they should, Parks and Rec's a great show, said Parks and Rec. And to me, the correct answer is, okay, cool. But he decided to insert himself into the story and went straight into the lens and said, suck it, Bill Lawrence. And then the next one, I think he asked Kelsey Ted Lasso or something else. And he said, Ted Lasso all day. But if you guys agree with me, the second one felt like him trying to make up for a mistake he had made. And I just want to, are we clear that it's okay for me to ignore the second one and just to focus on the first one as I consider my response?
I thought you were going to ignore the critics, but evidently Juju's got you awfully sensitive.
Yeah, well, you know, there's a different thing. If your friends come for you or the people that, you know, that we're all on the same team, then you got to get them back. It doesn't have to be mean-spirited, but you got to bring the heat somehow.
Don't worry, Bill Lawrence. I like you more than Mike Schur. You didn't talk about any baseball
100%
utility players
more.
from the 1980s today.
Yeah, but he would.
Bruce Ruffin was
Oh,
my favorite pitcher. And by the way, Ruffin stayed on the staff for like 6 straight seasons. He was their Terry Mulholland before Terry Mulholland.
Oh, I love you. I mean,
Bill Lawrence, top 5 setup men, or
You want to do
tomorrow?
You want to do middle infielders? We did middle infielders yesterday. Do you want to just name middle infielders?
You mean, do I want to go Juan Samuel or Mickey Morton or Manny Trio?
Jessica fled the room.
And And by the way, I believe because I remember being so happy. I believe was it Bruce 3 minutes for Ruffin from Berman back in the day?
Yes, it was.
Yes.
It's so bad. So bad. Anybody our age, you can just make them giggle with that. It's so strange.
I love Jess thinking Bill
By the
wouldn't
way,
want to play
do you
that
guys
game.
think that there's one person ever or still alive in America that when someone at a bar goes, "Who's your favorite baseball player?" that they say Bruce Ruffin?
I legitimately hate this.
You speak for the audience when you use the phrase, "I legitimately hate this," because we are getting peppered now. It is something that ranks as the most polarizing thing we have ever done. A lot of people writing in, "Bro, stop putting Mike Schur on the bleeping main show. Bleepity bleep, bleepity bleep. Shut up, Kev. He's the best part of the main show right now." The only part of the show I forward through daily, his segments are a slice of dry, tasteless vanilla cake frosted with caulk and plaster. C-A-L-K is the caulk. He ruins the show. Also, someone writes in, "My personal top 5 list of LeBatard Show segments that should walk into the ocean." Number 5, Mike Schur reading his top 5 list of old baseball players. Number 4, the unboxing of baseball cards. Number 3, Mike Schur talking about anything about Boston sports. Number 2, Mike Schur reading his top 5 list of old baseball players. And number 1 is also Mike Schur reading his top 5 list of old baseball players. What are we doing today? What are we doing today to actively alienate the audience?
Listen, do whatever you want, man. I report to work every morning at 7 a.m. sharp Pacific time. I come armed with stats of the day and top 5 lists and baseball cards, and you tell me. It's your show.
Well, what do
I'm
you
here
have?
to serve you.
What do you have today?
I serve at the pleasure of Dan LeBatard.
Well, you're actively alienating the audience now. All our numbers show that they're going down only when you're on. Every other time of day, we're fine, but you are actively you're poisoning the listenership. So what are you doing with it today?
Well, why don't we start with stat of the day? If people like stat of the day, right? So that won't
stat of the
destroy
day
your
is fine.
listenership.
That seems to be something that's okay. Let's start there.
Start of the day, start of the day. It is the start of the day. Start of the day, start of the day. It is the start of the day. Start of the day, start of the day. It is the start of the day. Start of the day, start of the day. It is the start of the day.
Thank you, either Whitty or Jessica, for turning on original sound.
This is the part that makes me want
Is
to
that OLI on the list of 5 things?
Well,
that
that's
It was me
another
this
thing
time.
people are complaining about.
Shut
Yes,
up.
they're complaining about you doing that as well. Yes. What is the stat of the day?
Be polite. The Miami Heat, folks, are going to sail into the All-Star break with an absolute stranglehold on the play-in tournament. They have locked us up a spot in the play-in tournament without question. They lost last night because Mikal Bridges went supernova. Mikal Bridges, I have 2 stats for you. Number 1, Mikal Bridges has never missed a game in the NBA. And he also never missed a game in college. And because of the trade, he may actually play in 83 games this year. He might play in a bonus game this year. Wild stat. But here's the real stat of the day. The Celtics on February 10th reached 40 wins. On February 14th, the Bruins reached 40 wins. That is the earliest date, according to OptaStats, that any city or metro area has had both its NBA and NHL teams with 40-plus wins. Congrats to Boston.
Lest you think that it's just hostility that's coming your way, somebody writes in, "I haven't laughed that hard at the show in a long time. We demand more Mike Schur. I knew it was going to be Pokey Reese. I knew it was going to be Pokey Reese. He's my number 1 utility infielder who makes me smile."
Somebody just spit in the corner here in the room. I won't say who, but I hate this man. When the Boston praise came pouring in.
Why won't you say who it is?
Do you think it's the guy currently shaking his head in anger in the background?
Sitting in the corner.
Is that Roy?
What? No.
Well, I think Jessica might be the one that hates this more than anybody. What is your list today? What is your list of baseball players that you have today?
Hey, hold on. Can we
I
backtrack
have
for
a
a
top-
second? Mike Schur, the guy who hates you the most in the studio, named his cat Mose before he knew he hated you.
Yes, you've grown in his hatred. He now hates his cat because of you.
Way to go.
That's a huge honor.
Do you have any hot
I
takes
have
on
a
the
lit- top
bees
five
now that
list
there are
today.
40 wins?
I have a top 5 list. Would you like to hear my top 5 list?
I would, yes.
It's top 5 backup catchers whose names make you smile.
Oh man, I didn't prepare this.
Oh, backup. Oh, man.
Backup catchers? Oh my god, I gotta scramble to put my list together.
How many?
I went rogue a little bit. I know we were supposed to wait for next week for Stugotz to keep doing this, but I couldn't help myself.
How many
So I have a list.
OLIs do you
top
have?
5. How many OLIs do I have? Let me count real quick. I have 240 OLIs.
No! What are you doing? You're ruining the show.
You are ruining the show.
I can't do this anymore.
That's it?
I'm done with
How?
this. I can't do this.
You're done?
I'm leaving.
Well-
It's me or Mike Schur, Dan. I can't do this.
Oh.
But Grandpa
Wait a
Rossi-
minute.
Ultimatum!
Rossi might be
I
on
love
the
this.
Wait a minute.
love
What do you
Grandpa Rossi.
love about the ultimatum? It's me or Mike Schur is the ultimatum.
Yes, I know. And you should obviously keep Jessica, which means you should obviously get rid of me. This is the whole point of everything I've been doing here is to get free
This evil
of this show, of this
conniving man.
horrible, this purgatory I live in where I have to wake up every morning and shout baseball facts into a microphone.
You're suspended.
This
You're
is
suspended.
exactly. This
You're-
is where I've been going. This is where this is going the whole time.
You're suspended for 1 week. You are now
Yes.
suspended. What do you mean, yes? That's not. No.
God,
you
that's so
suspended
great.
too?
Thank
Is
you,
it with
Dan.
pay?
Seriously, thank you so much. That's incredible. That's Oh God. Oh, yeah, how long? A month?
A week.
If it's with pay, can I get a week?
All right, I'll take a week. That's amazing. I
Eli
can sleep in.
Marrero.
It's not
I
about.
can-
It's not.
Todd Pratt.
It's not about whether you can take a week. You are suspended for the week. You
Yes,
don't have anything
I know,
to do
that's
with
amazing.
this.
You've given me a week of my life back, and I'm just very grateful to you. Thank
Mike
you. Thank you so
DeFelice.
much.
See you later, Mike. Sure.
Thank
No,
you.
wait,
No,
wait,
I'm
wait,
not
wait,
doing
wait,
this
hold
with-
on.
he's
Hold on.
suspended
Before
for a
we
week.
go, if we're gonna get our money's worth from Mike Schur, okay?
After the suspension?
Lenny
This is
Rutster.
part of the suspension. It's time for Schursday Thunder.
Oh,
This is part of the suspension.
Part of the suspension is you got to make 3 basketball picks, courtesy of our friends at DraftKings Sportsbook. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use promo code LAF. Mike Schur. There are 3 NBA games on the docket before All-Star Weekend. Are you ready to pick some winners?
He's 0-2 with his parlays, correct? 0-2?
Yep. Yeah, I went for the Eagles in the Super Bowl.
Of course
That
I am.
That did not pan out. And, of course, he missed the first parlay on 1 Patrick Beverly free throw.
He was so close to winning the first parlay. All Patrick Beverly had to do was make one of 2 free throws.
Free throw.
He missed both of them.
All right, so here we go. Tonight, we spoke to Stan Van Gundy earlier in the show. He is on commentary for the Chicago Bulls hosting the Milwaukee Bucks. The Milwaukee Bucks are 8-point favorites. Mike Schur, who you got?
Who's you have to tell me if people aren't playing. That was the whole problem. The last time it was Tyrese Halliburton playing? Everybody said no. Then he played and he scored 23 points, and I picked the wrong team.
He did
I
blame
think
not
he
us.
said he
playing
might be
this game.
playing, not that he wasn't playing.
He blames us for that first parlay not coming in because we gave him bad information.
You're the
on
sharp around here,
Halliburton.
Mike. Sure, you should know these things.
I'm not, Billy. I'm not.
You're the gambling
I know
expert.
nothing
That's
about
how
gambling.
that's how this was pitched to us. You said I want to do a gambling segment.
Milwaukee -8 against the Bulls. Let's.
So it seems like they're going to be without DeMar DeRozan. He picked up an injury earlier this week.
the game's in Chicago, so this is a home game for the Bulls.
Yeah, but the Bulls aren't any good, and the Bucks have won 11 straight, so I'll pick the Bucks.
All
But
right.
maybe they're due.
The Milwaukee Bucks are 8-point favorites. Mike Schur has taken the Bucks to cover. The Minnesota Timberwolves are home with the Washington Wizards. The T-Wolves are 3-point favorites. Mike Schur, who you got?
They're only 3-point favorites.
Only
That's T-Wolves
3-point
easy.
favorites. All right.
Wolves easy. Wow, look at that.
I mean,
confidence.
assuming that the teams are at full strength. I don't know. Are the teams at full strength?
Look at this confident better.
It's the NBA.
Is
You never
Ant-Man not
assume
playing?
Assume somebody is out.
They don't have D'Angelo Russell anymore.
That's why they should be 8-point favorites now.
All right, and finally, Mike, the Los Angeles Clippers are away at the Phoenix Suns. Don't ask me availability on the Clippers, for the love of God. And the Suns are 1-point favorites over the Los Angeles Clippers. Who are you taking?
It all depends on whether Kawhi is playing or not. You can't
Assume
do
he's
this in a
not.
vacuum.
Assume he's not.
What do you mean assume he's not? He played the other night. He had 7 3-pointers.
Then assume he is.
Just pick somebody.
And get out of here and start serving your suspension.
You know what? Fair. That was a fair hit. I'll take that hit. Thank you, Dan.
Okay, I don't care about the fairness. I don't care about your assessments on my fairness. I care about you starting your suspension right now and picking a game before you do it.
Norman Powell's out. I see.
You could take an over too if you want in any of these games. If you want anything in the way of an over, feel free.
Why is Phoenix only favored by 1? This is very suspicious.
Because the Clippers are very good, and Van Gundy just called them the most talented team, top to bottom in the NBA.
Yeah,
there's that.
They also lost at home to Dallas and the Bucks last week. Boy, this is a real. I'm in a real pickle here, guys.
Not as much as we are right now. Just listening to the show die 1 second at a time in your arm.
Well,
Mackie Sasser.
You don't want to just fart it out, Dan. Like, if we're doing Schursday Thunder, let's do it right, you know?
Thank you, Billy. I'm so happy that this has ended with me being the one that Billy defends, because you always know who the most hated person on the show is by who Billy is defending.
Wait, what do you mean?
It's always like you standing up for Greg Cody when he's being annoying, or Stugotz when he's being annoying, and now you're standing up for me, which means
don't give away the game. Don't give away the game, Mike. Sure, it's Billy's signature move. It's his skyhook.
I mean, that's.
I'm very
interpretation
happy to
of
have
it.
achieved it. All right, hold on. Suns minus 1.
We've been
at
holding
home.
on for 90 seconds.
Dan, let him think.
Pick somebody.
Let him think.
Thank you, Billy. I'll take the Clippers.
All right. Los Angeles Clippers is 1-point underdogs.
Get out of
So
here.
the parlay, Bucks -8, Timberwolves -3, Clippers +1. Good luck, everybody.
Don Slott.
See you later, sure. Ed Taubensee again.
Hey!
Don Slott.